Hello, peoples of the internet. So today I am not holding my camera, which is new for me, and it's an interesting experience, and we'll see how it goes. So it might fall, which I hope it doesn't, but we'll see. Today's an interesting day so far. So you may note that my voice is not as excited as normal, and that's because we had a death earlier today. So Rosco, who has been in the room, will no longer be in the room. So he crossed over earlier today, and my heart is grieving. So Rosco is our neighbor's dog, and I like to think he's one of Evie's best friends, and he was an old guy and a sweet guy, and he has continued his journey to the other side. And this isn't the first death I've heard of today, so I've heard of a couple sudden deaths. And so that tells me that we have an open death portal. And that's something that I've come to notice in different time periods. And so a death portal is a good thing for those crossing because it helps them to journey with ease and grace. It helps them to cross easier. And so it's like if you're a surfer, you jump on the wave and it's easy for you to cross to the other side. So Rosco jumped on that wave. And when people cross, for me, my specific thing I like to do is I like to obviously send them love and harmonic frequency and prayers for their journey. I also like to do a forgiveness routine where I just say thank you for being in my existence, and I'm so sorry for anything that was left undone, and I'm so sorry for anything that I could have done better, and for the time that we didn't have. And I clear, cleanse, heal, neutralize, harmonize, and alchemize all that was left undone, all debris between us, so that it can be fully and completely cleared. So as a living being on this side, we can do that for those who cross, and then invite all the others to do the same that were connected to that being. And so I also called in my ancestors, my pets who've crossed, and any of my loved ones that would like to welcome him over on his journey. Just welcoming them to be there for him as he journeys to the other side. And extra prayers and love to his parents who are going to miss him. He's been a large part of their existence for 10 to 12 years. So, yeah, it's sad. It's sad when we go through a loss, and I'm just trying to be extra gentle on myself today and give myself the permission to feel the sadness and the grief, and just hold loving space for him and for his life. So beyond that, I think that's all I'm going to do today. I'm just going to do this little piece in honor of Rosco and his life, and in honor of all the other living beings who are jumping on that death portal today and surfing their way over to the other side. May they all cross with gentle peace and love, and may all the hearts be held with gentle love as we process these losses and these gaps and honor those beings that were part of our existences and affected our lives. and just clearing, cleansing, and healing any debris that was between us, just neutralizing, harmonizing, and alchemizing back to dust all that we can, and any memories that might be arising of past losses and grief spaces that were left open and unhealed. We're just going to send extra love into those spaces today and neutralize, harmonize, and alchemize those spaces back to dust, and free and let go of those spaces that are ready to be cleared as we hold loving space in our pain and suffering of the now moment. And we just clear, cleanse, and heal all of that now through all quantum fields of existence. And we're opening to receive for best and the highest well-being. With the most ultimate of love and gratitude, we choose this. The other things I'm noticing right now is some pretty severe jaw pain, glandular stuff, all right side of the body. I haven't fully channeled the message of that yet, but that is the masculine side of the body. I believe it has something to do with the masculine side ancestors, and the glands has to do with letting go. And so if we can just clear, cleanse, and heal whatever that's coming up in this time period, because I'm also noticing right knee and right spine and hip area. Actually, it was left sciatic. And left sciatic oftentimes has to do with the roles that we're playing or giving ourselves the right to play our roles. The knees oftentimes have to do with choices that we aren't making or choices that we need to make, or like standing still when we need to move, or putting pressure on our own selves to move, but not giving ourselves the permissions to move. So that would be more of a judgmental space, like I should be further, or why haven't I done this, and those kinds of internal wound spaces that are asking for our love in this time period. And we're just going to give that extra love as well in harmonic frequencies. I will mention too that I noted deep shame was coming up about 2 or 3 days ago. I was noticing some spaces of deep shame. For me specifically, I had hard launched my YouTube site, and I'm literally coming out of a spiritual closet. A lot of people didn't know that I practice in this way, or that I have the abilities that I have. And I am putting myself out there now. So there's nothing left to hide. And I noted that internally, hiding inside was this feeling of like, oh no, people are going to find out. And I just had to drop down into that space and recognize, what is this? And I recognized this is shame. And as soon as I recognized that it was shame, I realized I don't have to be anything for anybody. And I had to take back my power from that space and recognize that I have a right to my own existence, my own reality, my own authenticity, and my own journey. And that I don't have to have anybody's permission to journey how I journey. I need my own permission to love myself into wholeness. And I've been loving myself into wholeness in that space. And that feeling state of anxiety has disintegrated back to dust, as I've held this space and given myself the permission to love myself in these deep spaces and clear that shame space. It's a collective shame of the slavery matrix, where it was trying to control us to be certain people, certain ways of speaking, certain ways of looking, perceiving, certain choices, and we're collapsing that in this time period. So we just want to hold loving space for those shame spaces, because that's what I call bottom of the barrel. So shame tends to be the bottom of the barrel. So we're clearing the bottom of the barrel pain. And it's obviously a deathing for us. We're letting go of, an old mode of functioning and an old way of existing. So that's oftentimes part of a death portal. So it's an opening to let go of vast quantities of pain and suffering and old ways of existing, old choices. But it also oftentimes also will be people letting go of their existences, of their bodies, of their lives. And that's the same with the humans as the animal species. And I'm sure the plant species as well. I haven't noticed particularly the plant species exiting, but I have noticed the humans and the animals, and just extra prayers into those spaces as well. So there's nothing to fear in death portals. They are endings, and endings are natural parts of this existence. And, Rosco was going to exit at some point, and he had loving people around him. He had a lot of people come and see him today at the end and say goodbye. I myself did some energy healings, and, I brought him back to life. He had quite a bit of life force before we left, and I could tell that he wasn't hurting. And so I had the opportunity to say goodbye and to give him that extra healing. So I am gratuitous for that opportunity, and I'm gratuitous for his life, and I'm gratuitous for my life and my opportunities and my ability to live in my wholeness. And I'm gratuitous that I'm still alive. And that's another thing that death shows us. Endings show us that I still have life in front of me. I'm still alive. I can still make changes. I can still love myself into wholeness. I can still access pain spaces like shame spaces and clear them from my mind, body, spirit, and soul, and begin to support myself in my own growth and my own expansion and in my own steps forward. So hence that knee. And I'm also in the middle of a move right now, so I'm moving back into my old house. I tried to sell my house, and I tried to leave the Okanagan, which is where I live, the Okanagan, BC, Canada, and it didn't work. So it's bad times for selling a house. But, some people have the luck, and it just isn't right timing. And it was time for me to move back in, and it's been a lot of work. It's been very draining and a lot of work, but again, I'm very gratuitous that I have a house to move into, that I have an opportunity to redecorate and make it everything that I want it to be. And you can see I'm getting my plants out, which I love. I got some new hydrangeas out there on the deck. And looking forward to the changes that are unfolding in this time period. I'm holding gentle space for them. I'm holding gentle space for my body, for my knees. I'm sending my knees to the healing center. Go to the healing center, knees. Go to the healing center, left sciatic. Go to the healing center, heart, because death does cause heart pain. Literally a little piece of your heart dies, and with the person, and then we have to bring our heart back to life, and that's what I'm in the process of doing. And so are plenty of others who loved Rosco, and that's okay. That's a natural part of this existence and a natural part of this reality. And we can love ourselves even there. We can feel safe even there. And even through my sadness, I can feel safe and accompany myself, companion myself. And that's what I'm doing at this time. So may we all journey well, and may we all love ourselves in our pain spaces. And I'm just going to do a quick clearing just on that grief, but also on the shame and the shame pattern that's coming up in this time period. And anyways, I like to do a clearing because it's just going to channel some extra light through my body, and my body could really use some extra light at this time. But right before I do that, I'm just gonna pull you guys through an energy clearing that I've been practicing a lot of in this time period, because there's extra energy in the air at this time. There's more sun action, more ionic atmospheric action, and it's bringing in more light and more expansion to the human being. So it's kind of initiating us pretty hard, and people who are sensitive can oftentimes get body aches and pains, but also headaches and things like that. For me, it's obviously in my jaw at this time, but I'm just going to hold loving space for that, and I know my answers are going to come to me, and when they come, I'll share them. So Source God Mother, I acknowledge and accept everything that we're speaking of so far today, and I just make loving space for the death portals. I recognize that they're natural, normal parts of this existence and this reality. They're actually a gift to those that are letting go, and a gift to those that are exiting their bodies, because it allows for a gentler crossing. And yeah, why wouldn't we want to take opportunity of that? And that we recognize that our loved ones will be with them on the other side, and that once they exited their bodies, they are going to feel so much lightness and completion of this existence, of this living being that they inhabited at this time, and that we can just clear any programs around death and dying, and around sadness, and around grief and grieving, and even the shame programs, because when someone dies, oftentimes we can feel shames that, you know, we should have done more, we should have treated them better, we should have spent more time with them, or we should have told them we love them, and all of those things. And those things did actually cross my mind with Rosco as well. And luckily my daughter was like, you know, Mom, you did the best you could. And it reminded me to love myself in these spaces, and to take back our power from these places and collapse them back to dust, as we recognize that there is a shame program that seems to be coming up in this time period about us, like, owning our embarrassment of others. So like, it's almost like we can feel the embarrassment of others, or we can feel like cultural expectation that we're not supposed to do certain things, and it creates an embarrassment in the other, and then we own that and feel shame for that. And like, that's not ours. That is not ours. Those one of those uncomfortable feelings. That's that subtle cue of an uncomfortable feeling that needs to be neutralized, harmonized, and alchemized. That's a program and a pattern that we don't want to hold anymore, because it's a barrier to being in our oneness and our wholeness, and to loving ourselves into wholeness. And we deserve love in those spaces, and we deserve to support ourselves in those spaces, and we deserve to give ourselves permissions to be whole and unique and authentic, especially there. And that we clear that shame, the bottom of the barrel shame, guilt and shame from our mind, body, spirits, and souls. And those programs, those subtle cue programs of trying to prevent ourselves from moving forward. So here's that knee again, right? So even as I talk about this and do the release, they're giving me some of that information. So giving ourselves permissions to move forward in our own unique ways, and recognizing that nobody gives us the permission how to journey. We give ourselves the permission of how to journey. And I'm going to give myself that permission. I'm going to support myself in those spaces, and I'm going to clear those wound spaces and those old wound spaces of the times that I didn't journey, or that I didn't give myself the permission, or that, you know, I felt that shame and pain and guilt, instead of fully and completely loving myself into wholeness, knowing that it's a conscious decision, and I want to make that conscious decision, and I want to clear that space, because it's like it creates that separation gap, and I don't want that. I want to clear it from my mind, body, spirit, and soul. And I clear, cleanse, neutralize, harmonize, and alchemize all of that now, including any frozen pain spaces in regards to death and dying, in regards to ends and endings, in regards to death portals and fears of death portals, recognizing that they're natural parts of the unfolding, that it's okay, it's normal here, and we want to normalize that, and we want to normalize the deathing process as part of the living process, and we want to normalize our feeling states as part of being alive and part of being a human being. And we clear, cleanse, neutralize, harmonize, and alchemize all of that now. Back to dust. Programs, modes of functioning, ways of existing, trigger points, internal dynamics, external dynamics, subtle cues, toxic empathy, codependency. We purify it. We alchemize it back to dust. Contracts, binds, barriers, cording, so that we make chord, as in create music within ourselves and around ourselves, and that we clear, cleanse, neutralize, harmonize, and alchemize all of that now. Pass the DNA and RNA into the God space of first creation, disintegrating the old DNA and RNA back to dust and initiating the new, and reconfiguring for each unique blueprint. Clearing, cleansing, and healing all drama, karma, trauma, playing out the dharma, neutralizing, purifying, cleansing, and healing from the cellular, energetic, and magnetic structures, and from the subconscious, unconscious, and conscious minds, pulling all of those spaces to oneness, to wholeness, to peace, to truth, to love. Welcoming those helper beings and helper frequencies into these spaces to continue to help us to neutralize, harmonize, and alchemize and access these spaces and begin to utilize them as we move forward in those good ways. Clearing these spaces of the body that we spoke of today and sending those parts of the body to the healing center so that they can get the healing codes, love, and freedom to fully and completely heal that our free will can give them. We clear through the children and up through the ancestral webs, past lifetimes in their webs, and for the collective universal who are open to it at this time, including all planetary systems and on all sides of the veil, including this universe and the multiverses. We quantum forgive those old modes of functioning, those old ways of existing, those old ways of being human, not grieving, not letting go, not supporting ourselves, trying to hold on, thinking that holding on to something keeps it alive, and the reality is that it just keeps it in pain and suffering and creates frozen pain spaces and shadows inside the mind, body, spirit, and soul, which usually embeds in the body. And I don't want to do that. Yuck. That's an old way of existing, and I don't want to take part in it. I want to be part of wholeness and alchemy and safety and love. And I purify back to the Godsource origins, welcoming those collective healed helpers, those beings of light, to continue to help us, guide us, love us, and nourish us. And those doctors, healers, and nurses in all realms of existence to continue to purify and alchemize these spaces and disintegrate them back to dust and initiate the new and reconfigure. We give so much gratitude and thankfulness to those helper beings and those helper frequencies that are here with us, helping us, guiding us, loving us, holding loving space for us, and nudging us. And just like when Rosco was crossing today, he already had a team of light with him, and they were helping him to already begin his journey, and that when he crossed, he was immediately, assisted in his journey to wherever it is that he goes next. And we ask that he's given freedom, and that he gets to choose for himself where he goes next and what he chooses to experience, because he was a good boy and he was very loving and he was loved. And so if you can help him with that, we'd really appreciate that as well. And we clear, cleanse, and heal all of that now through all quantum fields, and we're opening to receive for best and highest well-being with the most ultimate of love and gratitude. We choose this. So I choose this, and breathe. And just a good etheric breath. Yeah, and I don't think I did the energy work before I started that release, but we'll just do it right now. And it's pretty simple. You just envision yourself right above yourself, just like pushing your energy down and out of your body, opening up your hands and feet, those portals on your hands and feet, and just allowing that energy that no longer needs to be in your body, that doesn't belong to you, that's ready to be let go, cleared, cleansed, neutralized, harmonized, and alchemized. We're just going to push it down and out of the body, out through the hands and feet. We're going to see that energy circulating, and we're going to see it purifying, and we're going to see it alchemizing. You don't have to figure it out. You don't have to put, thought on it. You just got to let it go, let it go, let it go. We're just going to purify. And as we purify and let it go, we're just going to root ourselves into that multidimensional realm and receive any life force, frequency, codes, knowledge, and wisdom that's in our best and the highest well-being to receive. And we're also just going to do an energetic clearing right now, which we're going to do that again. But that's a good thing to do when we push that energy out. It's good to really root in so that we can receive what we need in those spaces. Pure, clear energy, that etheric light, and the codes of this universe. So, Source Godmother, we ask that you, within our purification space, as far out as our heart frequencies go, if you can just immediately evolute our systems for best and highest well-being, the systems within us and the systems around us, including those frequencies of our feet, upgrading those frequencies of our feet so that as we root down to the insides of our feet, we have all of the calm, peace, presence, and love that we're looking for. We're able to access that 0 point. And we root ourselves from our red chakra down into this universal realm, down through our universe star or our earth star, and connecting us fully and completely into this realm of existing, into this universe and into the multiverses, receiving that information, knowledge, wisdom, and codes, and sharing the knowledge, wisdom, and codes with this universe. And just clearing, cleansing, and healing through all quantum fields of existence and opening to receive for best and the highest well-being. With love and gratitude, we choose this. So you might have seen me smiling there because as I was doing that clearing, I was getting some communication from the plant kingdom in my purification space, which is the plants and the trees and the grass. And they were just saying to me that they're going to miss Rosco as well, that they also knew Rosco, and they did know Rosco because Rosco's lived here for, 6 or 8 years. And so they were just saying that they loved him as well. And they were joking too. So they were cracking some jokes like they won't miss his peeing because he was a lift the leg peer and he liked to pee all over everything outside. So they were saying they won't miss that part. And they were just kind of chuckling about it, making light of it. But they were saying that they love him and they'll miss him as well. So just extra prayers into that space and extra love into that space, and like so much love into the plant kingdom for their communications and their humor and their lightning. I appreciate you so much. Thank you, thank you, thank you. So we're just going to take a good etheric breath. And we're just going to take an extra etheric breath for all of those crossing or who have crossed or who are letting go. So again. And we're just going to ask our bodies, our higher selves, to trigger our vagus nerve now. Just a little extra love and comforting in this time period. That feels good. So if you feel lightheaded or feeling anything extra, just ground yourself to the insides of your feet. If you're feeling good, that's awesome and amazing. I'm just going to wish you all a beautiful day, night, evening, whatever you're in at this time. If you have a comment, please leave it below. Subscribe and share. I hope you all find the peace that you're looking for. especially in these times where we're being asked to accompany ourselves even harder, to be with ourselves as we go through these times. There are a lot of chaos in this time period, and chaos has a right to exist. It's a natural part of this existence and this reality, and we have a right to calm and soothe ourselves as we walk through the chaos. And that's what we want to do, because we want to access our creativity and our love of ourselves. We want to companion ourselves, especially here. So may we all companion ourselves in good, loving ways. And just lots of love to all of you. Until next time. Bye now.